Welcome everyone, Gavin from Planning Plus Software. Well, during the month of October, I participated in the Great Cycle Challenge. And what I'd like to do today is I just wanted to see what correlations there are between how the Great Cycle Challenge came about and how we can relate that to business in certain ways. So stick with me for the next few minutes and let's see how we can break this thing down. So I'm going to start with a how, why, and a what. And Simon Sinek said, start with why. So if I look at some of the key words that come into my why, I felt strongly there was a good purpose here. I knew I had the passion to participate in this. I felt we were going to contribute, and I knew that it would be impactful. So without that, that's the real key to it. Start with why first. Because you can set up other things, and if you don't have the passion and the purpose and you feel that you can make an impact, why are you doing what you're doing? Makes sense, doesn't it? So then we went into the how. So the how is, how does this all come about? And then the what is, what are the results, or what's the impact of it all overall? So let's have a look at the how. Now the how all came about because if we relate this back down to here, and we can see that the Great Cycle Challenge put out some social media posts and they put out some emails to us. Now from that, the social media posts and the emails were really professionally done and they got me curious. So they evoked some curiosity straight away. Now from there, I then started to give it some consideration. So it was my consideration to think, wow, this really resonates. Yep, there's a consideration. What's my decision? My decision was, hey, I'm in. Count me in. So I signed up straight away. Now I signed up before I did this, any goal settings and plan. I just said, let's kick it off. Let's get the commitment there. So we made the commitment. Boom, we're in. From there, I then needed to go about setting some goals. Now the different goals are, I had some financial goals on one, how much money did I feel I could raise? And two, how far could my little legs take me for the month of October? So I set my goals, and my goals was to raise 2.5K, which is $2,500, and I was going to ride 1,000 kilometers. So there's my goals, and then I needed to create a plan. So the plan was, well, how was I going to achieve that? What resources did I need? Well, the first resource that I needed was a bike. So I needed to have one of these things here, little handlebars there and little pedals here. There we go. We're off and running. So I had the bike and I had the people around me to help me plan it out. So there were some more things that needed to take place in there. Now from there, I then needed to say, well, how am I going to promote myself the same way the Children's Medical Research Institute did? So we went about creating some emails and some social media posts, and we started to promote ourselves well in advance of the event, just to give people the awareness of what was coming up. Give them some time to consider whether they would like to be a part of it. Then came this part here, the training. I wasn't going to get to the 1st of October and then say, get the bike out and see if I've got air in the tyre. I then set about saying, well, what's my training plan leading up to the 1st of October? So when the 1st of October gets here, I can hit the road pedaling. So I went about setting my training plan. Then came the day when I started to participate. So we'd gone through here and we got to here. And the what is, at the end of it, what's the result? That's the key thing over here. So what was the results and what was the rewards? So if we go from there and then we say, well, let's start getting into the whole event. How was it panning out for me? So let's have a look at it. Well, day one, right up here, the first, right down to the 31st of October. So I needed a daily plan. I needed to work out how many kilometers I felt I was going to ride and how much money I'd like to see being raised each day. I then needed to work out, well, if I'm out on my bike, how far am I going before I need to refuel myself? What energy is it going to zap out of me? So that was a daily event. And then if we come down to the weekly, we've still got the same thing. How many kilometers was I going to do in the week? Where would I like to be with funds raised? how taxing was that on my body in relation to fuel and energy? What did I need over a week's lot of rides in fuel? And then I needed to start factoring in, making sure I had rest and recovery. Because if I don't rest and just slow down and give my body time to heal, I'm not going to set myself up well for the next few rides over the next few weeks. So even in here, weekly, what I ended up doing was I booked in for a massage. So that at the end of each week, I went and had a nice massage, and that just set myself up for my next lot of rides. Now, also I was massaging, and there was stretching. Because I can tell you, when you're doing those types of kilometers, the glutes can get pretty damn tight. So I had to be looking after my body in this mix as well. And when we got to the end of the month, we then needed to say, well, what's the kilometers that I've done? How much funds did I raise against my goal? I know fuel-wise how my body responds, what I was needing and how much energy I was burning. And I was also looking at things like this during each ride. What was my heart rate? Making sure that I'm working in my working heart rate zone so that I wasn't expending myself too much too early. And then I was looking for feedback as well. Feedback and how am I promoting? How am I going? So that promotion side of things was happening all the time. And the feedback was going out all the time as well. So we can relate them back to daily, weekly, monthly on the feedback and promotion. And then we look at the results and the rewards. So the results we were feeding back fairly regularly as well. And the rewards, they were also getting feedback because we had funds being raised. So we look at it from that perspective and we say, well, that was what was happening during the course of the month. And if we have a deeper look at our results and rewards, we can come back to here and say, well, more of the rewards were my well-being. What did it do for my state of mind, keeping my mental health strong? That was a big reward for me personally. So I had good cognitive function. Why did I have good cognitive function? Because I was looking after my body. I was fueling my body with great food. I wasn't just filling it up with garbage. It was repairing well, it was resting well, I was fueling myself well. That meant that my health was strong. I had better concentration. I had better clarity. I was communicating well through this all the way through. So we had concentration, clarity, communication. All of that is a sign of great wealth, wealth of myself without anything else. So that was looking after the mind, body, health creates wealth in itself. Coming back to well-being. And then knowing that I was contributing to a greater cause. Now, that to me really resonated strongly because that's a part of, you're building compassion and empathy and knowing that you can contribute to something outside of yourself. So if we look at that from a rewards perspective, that all of these clearly are results, aren't they? Every one of them. They just correlate and they link together so seamlessly. So all of that combines together to say, well, this is the results and the reward. And then let's break it down even a bit more in relation to a business perspective and say, well, remember back on page 1, we started with why. And then we looked at how it was all going to come about. So the why was the marketing to us. We made the decision. We set the goals. We did some planning. We set about training. We promoted outside of us. We participated and we looked for our result. Pretty cool, hey? Page 2, we looked at setting the definitive plan. So that was more at a granular level. We started to break it down to look at the things we were going to do daily, weekly, health, well-being, funds raised, promotion, etc. And that's all about our key performance indicators. So we were drilling down on our KPIs, the same way that we do in business. So we're looking at it from that perspective of our page 1s to our page 2 to our page 3. And that was looking at our results and reward. And the results being, did I ride the 1,000 kilometers? Yes, I did. I managed to ride 1,031. What was the reward for that? I set a goal of 2.5K to raise, 2,500. We raised 4.5K. So that was a fantastic effort. So once it got to 2.5, we didn't just stop there. People kept coming in. Why did they keep coming in and donating to the cause? Because we kept giving them feedback. We kept giving the team feedback all the way through the month. Every day we're feeding back to them saying, here's where we're at. Here's a ride I've just done. Here's where we're going with our funds raised. Here's something that I've set up as a podcast interview with one of the researchers at the Children's Medical Research Institute, so we can share more of their information on how they do things, where does their money go. So we were feeding back on a continuous basis. So we were constantly reviewing what was taking place. And most of all, we were having thanks and gratitude for the people that were just helping us out on the journey. And thanks to my team for helping me out to get to this, because that's a team effort as well. I felt great on the bike, and I have to say, every day I was on that bike, I felt great. And that's a sort of a correlation on just that event and what it means for business. So think about it from that point of view on, your key performance indicators, your goals, your team, your culture, your values, what are you doing it for, what's your greater purpose. And if you went back and looked at one little part of your business and then broke it down that way and to say, well, why is this so important to me? How do I need to go about it? And what's going to be the resultant factor of all of that? And then you just chunk it down from there. You can do this on just a small thing, and then you can build towards bigger things from it. So what happened at the end of it after the 31st of October? Well, did I park the bike and go to McDonald's? No. I'm pretty pleased to say that once you get to that level, especially in your level of fitness and well-being, those things are not going to do you any good. So I've managed to stay on the bike. I'm out doing my rides. I'm still eating healthy. I'm still looking at maintaining my own plan for my fitness and well-being, because I know that's going to help me in business as well. That's going to generate my own health and wealth through business. So it's really important for me to keep that up. So there's the lessons. There's the lessons from the Great Cycle Challenge and the correlation between that particular fundraising event and what we can break down and what are the key takeaways that we could apply to business. So maybe take some of that back for your business. If you would like to give us any feedback, please contact me, gavin@planningplus.com.au. You can text me on +61 0409 152 314, and I would certainly like to hear from you. Thanks very much, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that.